Hey, Kevin here from selfreliantlife.com, and we're on the beach house project here, and I wanted to give you a little update. We haven't done any updates for a little while, but we had a little bit of a snafu, and so it's going to be a good learning post here, video. So what happened was we got all the plumbing done and ready to be tested, and what we have to do is we test it to make sure that it holds water, doesn't leak. And then we have the inspector come out and verify that it doesn't leak. So we want to test it about 24 hours ahead of time just to make sure we catch a leak and we fix it. So, and there's two different tests to do. One's for the fresh water coming in, and then one's for the wastewater going out. So two separate systems basically. And so we pressure test one with air and water, and then we just water test one, so we fill it because it doesn't have any pressure to it, which is the vent, waste, and drain. And so what happened was we found a leak in our drain pipe, and unfortunately the drain pipe was under the cement slab here, and we wound up having to chisel it up and do some surgery, if you will. And so what we do normally is, if you can see up here, we got a big pipe going through the roof, and that's our vent, and that allows makeup air for the water to drain through all the waste pipe, which is a black pipe here. And so what I did was I climbed up on the roof with a garden hose, and I filled that water, I filled the whole system up with water from up there. So it runs through all the piping above the floor and under the floor until it fills to the overflowing point up there at that, and then I know I've got enough water in it and I've filled the entire system. And so during that process the other day we discovered water started coming out of the floor over here, and it's where we had to secure the flooring, this framing here, to the floor rather, and so we have some bolts, some anchor bolts, and this was obviously put in after the slab went in. And so we had to drill holes, and the guy that I hired to help me drilled a hole for this bolt so that we could put a pin in and then bolt it with this anchor plate to the floor so that this isn't going to just move around, because we have, you know, it's just wood sitting on the concrete here. And so what happened was the slab is supposed to be 4 inches thick, and had that been the case, it wouldn't have been a problem, but it's only about 2 inches thick right here, and the pipe was just in the sand below the concrete. And so he wound up actually drilling right into the vent pipe here for the bathroom. And I'm going to get my light out here so you can see it. You can see that hole right there in the vent pipe, or the waste pipe rather. So water started squirting up out of that, up through the framing, which was right here, and out of we had it all set together like this, and that was nutted down, and all of a sudden we had water coming out, and I knew just exactly what the problem was right when I saw that happen. So we went ahead and had to drain the system back down, and then I brought in a rotohammer, which is this good doodad right here. It's kind of a big old drill on steroids, and I started punching holes in the cement all the way around this, just right close together, all the way around the perimeter of this area that we needed to take out. And once I got all these holes in here, then there was, of course, a little bit of cement between them. So then we got an air chisel, and I started breaking between the holes until I got it to a point where it was pretty loose. And then I just took a sledgehammer and smacked it, and it cracked in half right where the bolt was. Got lucky there, pulled that half out, pulled that half out, dug out all this sand so we could get a nice hole around that pipe so we could get in there and fix it. Now, I had several people think, well, you know, you could just kind of put a patch on that. It's not pressurized, it's just gravity flow. But I'm not going to do that. I don't want to take any chances on that down the road. So what I'm going to put on there is a flexible coupler, and this is a 2-inch pipe, and I'm going to cut a little section of that out right there where that hole is, probably about like that, so I can slide this on and then push it forward, and this will become the the new section of pipe. It's a big rubber grommet thing here, and then I'm going to tighten these stainless steel clamps up, and it'll be tight because this is not pressurized again, so it's just water coming out of the sink here in the bathroom that just flows out, and it comes over to about, so the kitchen pipe's right here, it comes out about right here, and you can see in line there's a pipe under the cement right here that goes right over to that toilet flange on the floor, and where it intersects right here, it just tees in and then just keeps going that way, and then eventually there's a 3-inch pipe on the outside, goes out and into the sewer. And so we don't have a big water pressure problem here or anything. If it was something high pressure like your water line, it'd be a different story. So this is going to go on there. It's going to be our fix, and then we'll have to pack all the sand back in, get it nice and tight in there and pack down, and then we'll pour a little patch of cement right here. And the fortunate part of this was this is inside the wall. The stove's going to sit right here, and the bathroom vanity is going to sit right there, so you'll never be able to see that patch, which is nice. It's not in an area where we would have had to, you know, if it was out here, I'd have been upset because that would have been right in the middle of our floor, and our concrete is our finished floor. We're going to stain it, so that would have been a problem. So we did get lucky in that respect. And then what I'll do is when that cement's firmed up a little bit, I'll set that bolt back in there, and it'll harden up in the concrete without penetrating. And then we'll put the wood back in and bolt it back down, and we'll be good as new. So that's going to be our fix. So let's take a look at how you pressurize the freshwater side. We got a little bit different scenario over here. In order to pass inspection, we got to have 100 pounds of air pressure in our water lines, which are the blue and red here is the hot and cold. And this is our main service line coming into the hot water tank. And then so it's all going through all the fixtures. And so what we did was we put on, this is our washing machine box, so I put a nozzle right here that I can hook up to an air hose, just like you'd fill your tire up in your car. And then on this one I put on a little pressure gauge and open these up, blow air into this until this says 100 pounds, and then stop and let it sit overnight and watch for leaks. And we also charged it up with a little bit of water beforehand because it's a lot easier to find a water leak than it is to find an air leak. And so we didn't have any problems with that side of the system. So all my joinery here, if you will, is all working just fine. And so we know that when we have our inspector out, he's going to see that, he'll pass us on that. We're going to get that fixed, fill it back full of water, make sure everything doesn't leak, which that was the only leak we found, so we'll be good to go on that one. So that is why you always test your plumbing before you finish your building up, because if you don't, that could happen and that could cause a lot of problems. It had been, you know, in a finished scenario, and when we went ahead and turned the water on later, we could have had a lot of destruction and damage to finished materials. At this point in time, it was just a little inconvenience to just have to bust out a little spot of concrete and patch our pipe. So just a little FYI on your DIY on how to do plumbing without having problems, and if you have a problem, that's how you find out before you get finished out. So anyway, just a little update on the project here. We're working on the plumbing, finishing that up. We got the electrical almost done. We're going to be putting the gas pipe in tomorrow for the heating system and our stove. We wanted a gas stove in here for our cooking. And with that, I will see you on the next video.